When people ask you what's the most fun you've had in Lansing on a Tuesday night, you'll say playing trivia at Ozone. And then they'll ask you what's the second most fun, and you'll say going to the first live podcast of What Lansing Council. So welcome to What Lansing Council, the live show. This is usually a podcast transforming Monday night's Lansing City Council meetings into an enthralling recap, but there was no council meeting last night, so we're doing our own thing. And yay! And that is a discussion of civic engagement with three of Lansing's super citizens, Paul Anderson, Julie Powers, and William Lawrence. And this live show was Mike's idea, so he will be our assistant. Thank you, Mike. And the goal of tonight is to feel that big citizen energy, and these folks are doing it, and so can we. We'll start our discussion with what is a good citizen and why you should strive to be one, then how to be a good citizen, and finally troubleshooting some common problems. And we'll have some fun breaks in between. So I'll introduce each of our guests in more detail, and then they will say their idea for a motto for the city of Lansing.
Oh, man.
Right? Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Great. This is Paul Anderson. Paul serves as the executive director of the Southwest Action Group, an organization dedicated to uplifting and empowering the community of Southwest Lansing by fostering unity and improving the overall well-being of individuals and families.
It's a small, big city.
Small, big city. Yeah. And next we have Julie Powers. Julie works as the executive director of Immigration Law and Justice Michigan. She has worked in the nonprofit sector for 30 years in and out of Lansing.
Okay, so Lansing kind of has had mottos through the years, and what making it happen, I think is our. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So, but I'm going to go a little old school. When at the advent of the dawn of social media, we threw a hashtag out there called Love Lansing, and that's been my motto ever since. So I'm going to stick with Love Lansing.
Love Lansing. Thank you, Julie. And of course, William Lawrence is running for United States Congress to represent Michigan's. To represent our Congressional District. A lifelong organizer, he founded the youth-led Sunrise Movement and more recently the Michigan Rent is Too Damn High Coalition.
Thank you. The mayor's re-election slogan, I think, was Lansing's time is now. That didn't quite sit right with me, but I might say Lansing's time is whenever you want it to be.
Love our little big city whenever you want.
Yeah, that's right.
Amazing. Okay, thank you so much for those mottos. And now I am going to do the panelist limerick challenge. So I have wrote an individual limerick for each of you, and then you're gonna guess the last word. Okay? This is borrowed from, and you're first. This is borrowed from NPR and WBZ Chicago. Wait, don't tell me. And you're gonna hear this if you get it right.
Very nice.
Oh, man.
And you're going to hear this if you get it wrong. Audience. And then the audience can guess. Okay, ready? You ready? It's going to be great. Coffee and donuts as greeting. Rarely is there assigned seating. With some you'll agree, from others you'll flee. That's a community.
Guarantee?
Any other guesses? Meeting! It's okay, you'll get the next one.
I hope so.
Julie, with the power of speech, we are blessed to communicate our unrest. with slogans and signs, cardboard quippy rhymes. Won't you join me at the next
Protest.
Hey! And Will, a good politician will quote, and creative ideas they'll float. When you're at the polls, say hi to the souls who are there to safeguard your
Vote.
Woo! Very good. Thank you all for playing the Limerick Challenge. Okay, now we're gonna do like more talking about serious things. So my opening question is, what does being a good citizen mean to you, and how has your definition changed over time? And so you may go.
I think what being a good citizen means to me, what I used to think what being a good citizen meant was, paying your taxes, following the rules, and whatever else comes with just the regular things of being a good citizen. But really, over time, I realized that being a good citizen to me just means showing up and tending those places that mean something to you and mean the most to you. And just, I think that is what being a good citizen is, just showing up.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. You're doing it.
I guess the quip could be that, act like, you don't have to have a passport, right, to see the world, right? Because our community, especially Love Lansing, is as diverse as it gets, but you have to go looking for it. And so for me, it's being a good citizen is being curious about your community, finding places and spaces where you can be of service and where you can lift others up and build relationships. I think mutual aid matters, especially in these really dark days. And so I think that we all have a chance to be a good citizen on our own block or in our own neighborhood or in our own zip code. It doesn't have to be going across the sea to do something, dramatic and Instagrammable. Sometimes it's, I don't know, shoveling somebody's sidewalk. So that's what being a good citizen means to me. Right.
It's an interesting question. I think, the identity of citizen sort of invites the concept of the non-citizen. And so if a citizen is we who are inside of a political unit, that comes with certain rights that we enjoy and certain responsibilities that we owe to each other. So I suppose that being a good citizen, which to me, again, historically I would have said, oh, that just is someone who basically follows the rules, a law-abiding citizen sort of thing. But I think to be a good citizen might be to enjoy the rights and exercise the responsibilities of being part of that unit. And then I think also to, extend solidarity to those who are beyond the bounds of that border of citizenship.
Yeah. Share it out. Why is continuing to try hard for your community important?
I think because there were people who done those things for me, the people who serve our community and continue to do the work. Those people showed up, and you can tell in our roads, in our schools, and the people that work hard to make sure the community improves. Someone did that for me, and so I think it's important to return that favor.
Wow, this is hard. Why do we keep showing up? Because what's the alternative, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to live in a world where we all sit inside our houses and don't interact with other people. And if showing up every single time means that other people are going to be inspired by what you do, then you show up. You just do it. And it doesn't have to be the grand gesture. It doesn't have to be the things that get a lot of attention, but people are watching. And I know that there are people who are younger than me, folks, kids in my neighborhood, kids in my community, who show up and volunteer because I do it. And I think, well, hey, then I guess I'm their person who, I guess I'm their person. Yeah. So I say we've got a next generation or two behind us to lift up, and no one else is going to do it, so it better be us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For me, it's made my life a lot better. It's made my life a lot better. When I was younger, in my teenage years, I was pretty down on the state of the world, and my ambition for myself was to basically drop out of society and go live in the woods and grow out my beard as long as I could.
Be a non-citizen.
Yeah. I mean, go do some trail maintenance, crew work or something, live in a cabin and have nothing to do with human society as I knew it. And I didn't have the courage of my convictions to go down that road fully, which was a blessing. And I instead encountered this work of active citizenship, which for me was about community organizing and social movements. And just my life was transformed by the people that I met doing that work. And I was challenged to be a better version of myself, challenged to be more accountable, challenged to have integrity in my relationships and to examine myself and to grow and learn. And, those friends I've made along the way are people that I just love and cherish to this day. And the person that I've become is somebody that, I wouldn't recognize from the age of, 16 or 17 because of the challenge that has been put to me in the work of active citizenship. And I'll just say that in the act of campaigning, I really wasn't sure how I was going to be doing this whole congressional campaign. I mean, it's a lot of energy, a lot of money, a lot of time. I mean, it certainly is a lot of adversity. But it's been reminding me just how true it is, the importance of showing up. Because there's a story out there that one can tell, and I tell, which is that, nobody does anything anymore. Like, people are isolated, we're at home on our phones, we're scrolling, we're all addicted to the internet, and we don't do the stuff of social existence. Nobody goes bowling together and all that sort of stuff. And there's some truth in that, and I am addicted to my phone, and I do waste a lot of time scrolling.
But also bowling sucks.
I disagree. I respectfully disagree. But
we're getting into it.
When you're campaigning, you got to get out there. So I've been going to union halls and houses of worship and all kinds of festivals and book groups. And I'm going to the Collage Club next week. And, people are doing the thing. People are doing the thing. And that has been the most important lesson that I've gotten from this, that I'm being reminded in this form of citizenship, is that actually people are amazing. People are still carrying the torch of social life, and we have to carry it together.
Yeah.
Wow, we got to keep going. So how important is it to define and to take pride in, I'm a citizen of blank? Like, we're all citizens of Lansing, we're citizens of Michigan, we're citizens of the United States, but we're also citizens of our churches, perhaps, and of our, particular communities that we've chosen. So I guess it's like, is that an important part? Is that an important part to understanding how to be a good citizen?
I think it is. I think that is critically important. I think that when you engage with your neighborhood association and you engage on the local level, but you don't invest time in the national level, you're like leaving power on the table, and vice versa. So I think that is critically important to engage at all levels of citizenship. Yeah.
I completely agree. And one of the things that the people who know me, and there are a couple people in this room I've worked with for a few years, but there's something that you guys may not know, which is that in the Tri-County area, there are 1,100 boards, bodies, and commissions that have purview over your tax dollars. I have a list. Gabriel can... It's true. Yeah. I put it together a long time ago, and I've been updating it ever since. I might be a little compulsive about that. But what I know to be true is that all of those resources, and it's not just about the money, right? But it's about the decisions. It's who's at the table. And the folks who are at those tables don't always look like the people in my communities. It's overwhelmingly, the boards, and this is, again, Tri-County, but the boards are overwhelmingly white and male and elders. And it hasn't changed.
Those bowlers.
I'm not going to cast aspersions on how people choose to spend their time. I'm just going to say that perhaps they could put some. Oh Lord. My point is this: is that there are lots of ways to show up in our communities, and it looks different for everybody. But I think it's important that when we identify as a citizen, we're not just like, I'm sorry, but we can't just be Lansing. We are part of Mid-Michigan. We are a tri-county area, whatever you want to call it, because I don't know if y'all know this, but water doesn't recognize county borders. And I used to monitor the Red Cedar. It does not care that you're in the 48823 or the 48912. It just keeps on going. But my point is this, is that there are lots of ways for us to engage in our communities. There's lots of things that you can affiliate yourself and identify yourself with. It's just a matter of knowing what's out there and on the table. And some of it's deliberately being hidden from you. So if anybody wants access to the list, let me know.
Yeah.
So the question was, how important is it to take pride in being membership or citizen of a particular specific group? Is that right?
Or like to define what you're a citizen of, I guess. Both of those questions.
Yeah.
It's not a great question, but thank you anyways.
It's very provocative. I mean, because I think this is the dangerous stuff, right? It's about in-groups and out-groups.
Yeah.
And how do you define who is in your group and who your friends are and who your enemies are and who's on which side of the line? Mm-hmm. And, I think that it is important. I think it is important to be part of something. It's important to have something going on, because if we all had the same thing going on, then that would be pretty boring. And I think that if we had a world government, that would also probably be pretty oppressive. And so I was just reading the Pope's encyclical on artificial intelligence, actually, like you do. And he was talking about how he's talking about exactly this. He said that there's a push in the world for homogeneity that would seek to make us all the same, that in fact is very violent and oppressive and brutal. And he said that there's something to be said about people doing their thing basically from the bottom up. And when things happen from the bottom up, they evolve into a vastness of diversity, biodiversity, cultural diversity, and diversity in all its forms. And people are so creative about making things happen. And so I think that in terms of political forms and artistic forms and cultural forms, diversity is amazing. Human diversity is so special. And that was something I learned from just reading about the history of human cultures. I grew up thinking, okay, people are telling me stories about human nature. And that means there's one way of doing things. And this way we do it now is the way that it's all been leading up to this. And then it's going to stay like this. Mm-hmm. And then I took a few courses about anthropology, actually, cultural anthropology. I was like, oh, wow, there's like 10,000 different ways to organize a human society. That's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's important to belong to something. It's important to have a sense of who one is and who one's people are. And then again, to extend some grace and curiosity and love to people who are on the other side of that boundary.
Yeah. That was beautifully said, and we're going to get into some more diversity now, and that is the diversity of responses from our audience to some questions that I gave them before we got started here. So, Mike, are you ready? Yes. Great. Okay, so this is going to be friendly feud. Okay.
Okay.
And so I gave out 6 questions to all of our audience members, and you're gonna try to guess what they said. Okay? Do you want to go first, or you want to go not first?
I'll go first.
Great, awesome. We'll rotate through. We'll rotate through. So start with you, and I'm gonna say the question. You're gonna give a guess, and Mike's gonna be like, or. And then, and then it's gonna be Julie gets to guess, and then Will gets to guess. Okay. So the first one is, what is Lansing's signature scent?
Well, I'm gonna borrow this from my friend Aaron. It's coffee, burnt coffee.
Ooh, burnt coffee!
That's a good one. Yeah.
Second place.
Oh! Okay, Julie.
Eau de Grand River.
That was tied for first place.
Oh!
Cannabis?
Oh, man.
First place.
Oh my God!
Hey, look, we got all of them.
Oh my God!
We got them all.
Amazing.
Look at that.
We did it! This worked! Any other like fun ones you want to say?
Sorry, fireworks smoke.
Oh, fireworks smoke! Fireworks smoke for the recording. Great. Julie, what's the best first date location in Lansing?
Well, it would have to be Lansing's amazing parks system.
Oh, Lansing Parks!
I'm going to push them in the Grand River when they irritate me.
River Trail was top.
Oh, okay. Well.
First date. Okay. Oh, geez. River Trail is going to be mine. But, I don't know. Walking around Michigan State campus.
Ooh. Michigan State is not in Lansing.
Somebody did write MSU.
Oh, okay.
This is that
okay.
in-group, out-group thing happening.
Honestly, the Capitol lawn.
Show me Capitol. Well,
This is Capital Prime. The holiday tree at the Capitol was given.
okay. Holiday tree at the Capitol. Okay, great. We're doing great. Will, what's a good dish to bring to a potluck?
Oh, casserole.
Casserole.
There was a lot of casserole.
Woo!
Wow. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't even know how to answer this question seriously. So, fruit?
Fruit.
The closest thing to fruit was pie.
Pie. Yo!
Deviled eggs?
Got multiple votes.
Yay! Okay, if Lansing had an official animal, what would it be?
What animal do I see every day in Lansing? Literally the squirrel.
Squirrel.
I literally see a squirrel every single day.
Woo! Second place.
Well, if we're basing it on my neighborhood, I would say skunks.
Oh, skunks! Woo!
Was it the red panda thing at the zoo?
Red Panda did get some votes.
Oh, red panda! Oh, I love that.
Well, the other interesting ones, raccoon was number one.
Yeah, raccoon, trash panda.
Yeah.
Groundhogs, and then Big Penny made the list.
Okay, love that. The one and only. Okay, Julie, who would you be least surprised to see at a community meeting?
Well, he's in the second or third row. His name's Ryan. You may know him as my city council
Ryan!
member.
Third place.
Oh, okay. Will, your guess.
Loretta Stanaway.
Loretta!
Wait, so the question is not surprised to see?
Who would you show up to a meeting and you're like, oh yeah, you would be at this meeting.
Oh, man. I'm going to go with the 3rd Ward Council Member Adam Hussein.
Oh, Adam Hussein. Woo! Okay, Will, if communications were down and there was an emergency, where in Lansing would people gather?
The Avenue.
Whoa! He said the Avenue, right? Avenue? Yeah. Okay. Okay, your guess, Paul.
That's good. I'm going to say the basement of the downtown library.
Okay, downtown library. That's a
Bomb
good
shelter.
spot.
That
Yeah.
is specific.
Probably not on the
It's
list.
good strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll go there and we'll be safe. Yeah. Everyone else will go to the Avenue.
well, I guess I would have to say the site of the former Big Penny. Because, who else doesn't? I like to stand around and watch people drive their cars into the water.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Big Penny got votes.
Amazing.
What was number one?
Top number one was the Capitol.
Capital.
Okay.
Third place was just the streets.
I feel like there was some collusion, perhaps. The streets. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, great, great. Give yourselves a round of applause. So now we're going to transition into how to be a good citizen, because we all know how important it is. We're going to show up for each other. It's going to be amazing, and we need to know how to do that. What are some quick and easy ways people can level up their civil engagement?
Starting where you at, going to the neighborhood meetings, going to school board meetings, listening to a podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, like, or one way that I got engaged, because I was very curious before I started this work, but Citizens Academy.
Citizens Academy
Literally is a gem, and I swear to that program, and I hope that more people sign up for that program and go through that. Delisa, who is here, or who was supposed to be here, a guest, could have vouch for that program because she runs that program. But yeah, Citizens Academy was amazing. It really gave you an opportunity to talk with directors of the city, and really look at the different departments and all of the people who run the city and how the city functions. And it kind of, for me, was able to give a little grace to things that I didn't understand. We still want to hold our civil leaders accountable, but also it helped me understand that it's not just one way. It helped me understand another perspective.
I love that. Yeah.
I guess I have two. Sorry. I guess the first one is, and this is just a PSA because I did this. 16 years ago, I took the Certified Tourism Ambassador class for the Visitor and Convention Bureau, now called Choose Lansing. I don't know. It just is what it is. Anyway, now I will tell you, our first class that we went through, they gave us a binder, and it had mistakes in it, and my blessed mother, who's a retired teacher, actually corrected it. Yeah. Anyway, but it's all digital now. But anyway, it's $20 or something to take the class, and being a Certified Tourism Ambassador gets you to in places and to meet people that you wouldn't ordinarily get to do. And it's a really neat thing to do, and it's free. Like, you just gotta go to some things. I mean, I go to Fenner 18 times a year, so I just I know, of course I go. But I get points for going and doing stuff out in the world, and because I'm competitive and many of us like to gamify things, it's a great way to gamify learning more about your community. And it's specifically about events and festivals and all of the important spaces and places that you might not ordinarily go to. So Certified Tourism Ambassador, and like I said, I've been doing it 16 years and I love it, and I still did it even when I lived in the Washington DC area. So I'm looking at all y'all, and you have no excuses. But the other thing is as I referenced earlier, there are a lot of boards, bodies, and commissions in the Tri-County area that need people like you, people who show up to hear about what citizenship means, people who are volunteering in their own communities. But get yourself on a board, body, or commission. Start showing up to meetings, and learn how the process works. It doesn't have to stay that way either. Just because the way it is now is, I mean, they're going to die sometime. We can take over. I'm Gen X. We've been waiting forever.
Amazing. Sounds
So,
like you've been
my answer would be just start anywhere. I mean, start anywhere that's of interest to you, and then try to keep showing up, and then ask, why is this the way it is? And then keep kind of pulling the thread and unraveling the sweater, as it were. But maybe there's two paths. There's a path of enjoyment, and there's a path of anger. So something that makes you angry, go and find the board that is responsible for that thing, and then ask why it is, who is responsible for it being this way, how could it change?
Yeah.
And then maybe that'll take you in all kinds of different directions and side quests. Or you could take the path of pleasure and enjoyment, which is go to a community event that seems awesome, maybe here at the Robin Theater, and then ask hey, who runs this place? How does this happen? Who threw this festival? There are things that are happening out there, and if you ask questions, how did this get to be this way? You'll learn a lot about people who are pillars of our community in a variety of ways, and you can get into it that way too.
Or do both.
Or do both.
Path of love and the path of hate.
Yeah, that's right.
How should people balance advocating loudly for what they want and being open to listening and compromise?
We got a long way to go. I think it's understanding your position, and knowing what your opinion is, and then just dealing with the truth about things and the facts. And what was the second part of that question?
Should you focus on like pushing hard for what you believe in, or
right.
listening to what other people believe in?
Well, I think you have to. I think you got to kind of do both, because there is a unique balance in between what your needs and like other people's needs, and I think the unique balance is it's where can we find the common ground. Mm-hmm. Like that's where our challenge really is. It's not even, it is the challenges that happen in our community, but it's, can we meet in the middle, and can we be civil and meet in the middle? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like that's the battle, honestly.
I would say, first of all, part of getting older is I've learned I don't have to tilt at every windmill. I used to go swing at everything, and I was at every meeting. I don't do that anymore. I don't have that kind of time. But what I do know is that by focusing on the things that matter the most to you and surrounding yourself with people who may have different perspectives, but also maybe you all really care about the environment, but you may have different ways of going about it. The folks who are super into solar or wind or monitoring our waterways or native species protections, whatever that is. If you surround yourself with a community of people who care broadly about in the same category of stuff, right? You're going to end up hearing a lot of different perspectives, but in a space that is a lot easier to hear those things because they're from people you work with, volunteer with, you respect. If you have never pulled freaking bittersweet on MLK Day with an army of volunteers, you're gonna be with a whole bunch of people who have different opinions, but we all care about removing invasive species, right? So align yourself with folks who have similar values. I will never probably spend a whole lot of time with people who dehumanize other folks. That's just a moral thing, that a line in my sand. But if we agree on something, I will find a way to find common ground with them. And it's not easy. But again, don't tilt at every windmill. I'm not going to swing at I'm not going to get into every fight anymore. I have to reserve my bandwidth for what I get paid to do and those things that are my lines in the sand. And that has been a blessing for me over the last decade or so, is figuring that out.
So I think it starts with being grounded in your values and what you want. In the organizing work that I do, we talk about, vision of the world that you want to see, a goal that is a tangible step in the direction of that vision, a strategy, which is your approach towards achieving that goal, and then tactics, which are tangible actions that express the strategy to achieve the goal, to move closer to the vision. And if you don't know what your vision is and you don't know what your goal is, then you're going to be confused about how to approach your tactics and strategies. And so that's the first step, which is always ongoing. But then you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. It's just...
And when to bowl them.
And when to bowl them.
I'm going to take a 7-iron to both of you.
And if you're gonna walk away from the table rather than compromise, you have to ask, okay, what will be the outcomes of walking away? In negotiations, you talk about the best alternative to a negotiated agreement. And you need to be very clear about what is your best alternative to a negotiated agreement and ask, is that better than the compromise that is on the table? If so, walk away. If not, you should take the deal. And being clear about those different stakes, all the time is really hard.
Yeah. But it sounds like you are a man with a plan. What conversations do you wish that more people were having with each other?
Honest ones about power. Yeah. Power and history. I wish that we could have just more honest conversations about the history of how we got here and why we're here. And because I think that if we can do that, then we can understand how to approach the solution and how to find the solution. We can understand how to approach the problem to find the solution. So, honest conversations about power and history.
Yeah.
how wealth is being hoarded by a handful of mostly white men, while the rest of us are fighting over pennies. And that is the root of evil and politics in this country. Overlaying that, and I do a lot of speaking in the churches because that's my job these days, talking to faith-based communities primarily. And one of the things I've gotten pretty good at saying is that we all need to unpack the fact that racism is where it's at. That is the basis for what we're going through right now as a country. I mean, it's money, it's power, but it's racism. Because, and that as a white woman with lots of privileges, I have to call it out in the rooms that I'm in because that's what my moral compass says to do. But we have to be willing to have those conversations with each other, whether it's over a dinner table or at a community gathering or in a space like this. We have to be willing to talk about it because there are an awful lot of folks who I know who would rather be racist than be called racist. And at the end of the day, that's a problem.
I love both of those answers. I'll just add, who are we? Who are we and how ought we to live? I think we've got real choices to make about what it means to be human, what kind of humans we want to be in an age of global transformation, ecological crisis. The war drums are beating. AI is on the move and is raising fundamental questions about the nature of intelligence and humanity. And I think we have an opportunity to be agents in choosing what it means for us to be human and what we believe is the good life for humans to live together. So I would love to have more conversations in that register.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will.
We're not going to let the robots win, and especially not tonight.
That's right.
So we're going to move on to our next fun interlude. May my assistant please make his way to the front? Okay, so our next thing is going to be letter writing. So we're going to write a letter together in the form of a Mad Libs.
All right.
Do people know what a Mad Libs is?
Yes.
Okay. A Mad Libs is like I'm gonna say noun, and then you have to say a noun. So like elephant or like butterfly. So I'm gonna say the part of speech to you, and we're just gonna go circle through, and then you say one of the things. Okay.
Okay. But if I have to remember the difference between adverb and adjective.
There's no adverbs.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. So, adjective. Paul, adjective.
Exciting.
Oh yeah. Julie, adjective.
Salty.
Yes. Will, verb ending in ing.
Running.
Great. Paul, plural noun.
Cars.
Cars. Love it.
Does that work?
Love Lansing.
Love Lansing cars. Julie, noun.
Raccoon.
Yes. Will, noun.
Potato.
Potato. Canadian potato. Okay, the next one is number.
11.
11. And Julie, more or less?
Less.
Yes. Will, number?
385.
Yes. Paul, adjective?
Difficult.
Difficult. Yes. Julie, occupation?
Plumber.
Will, type of vehicle?
It's Chevrolet.
And Paul, noun?
Clock.
Clock. And Julie, name a street in Lansing.
Magnolia.
Okay, Will, adjective.
Exquisite.
Exquisite. Can you spell that? Paul, plural noun again.
Golly. Pens.
Pens. Julie, a different Michigan city.
DeWitt.
DeWitt.
I don't think that's technically a city, but okay.
Will, noun.
Stadium.
Great. And Paul, last one, day of the week.
Oh, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, Mike, do you want to read it or do you want me to read it?
Oh, you have the mic.
Okay, I'll read it, I guess. Dear Lansing City Council, I think you are doing an exquisite and salty job. An exciting and salty job running the city. But you are too focused on cars when you should. When you should be dealing with the raccoon situation. In terms of the budget, the potato department should be getting $11,000 less dollars, and you should hire 385 more difficult plumbers. Also, my Chevrolet broke down when I went over a pothole the size of a clock on Magnolia. You need to fix the exquisite pens before we turn into DeWitt. In closing, I invite you to attend my stadium's party next Tuesday to further discuss these issues. Thank you, Mike. We'll send this home with Brian. He can read it to him.
Oh, God.
Okay, great. Part 3 of the discussion. Ready?
Okay.
Take a sip of water. Great. Okay, so we talked about what a good citizen is, why to be a good citizen, how to do it, and now we're going to talk about when it inevitably doesn't quite go your way. So what if you tried? You went to a meeting, you joined a group, you wrote a letter, and nothing changed.
Well, it doesn't mean. See, I think that is sometimes the misconception in this work that we do. We all know that it takes time.
Boo.
So yeah, I know it's not glamorous. You guys won't see the changes that you've been working so hard for. Some of the changes you won't see. We're playing for the future, and so but with that, right? Burnout is real. Folks get burnout all the time, but you have to, I think, transfer leadership to others, and you have to instill and build trust with other people so that when you're burnt out, those people can kind of pick up where you left off. And so, yeah,
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Civic engagement is a long game. I think every one of us, every single time construction season starts up, we all groan and roll our eyes and then complain endlessly, right? Like, don't we all complain at least once a day about the construction? Or, the
Boo
roads
cars.
being closed, boo cars, right? I need you all to know that every single construction project that is currently ongoing was planned, funded, and greenlit over a decade ago. Yeah. I was at those tables. I fought. I'm sorry. But all of these things get planned, and so you invest stuff, and you don't always get to stick around to see your hard work pay off. And I just want you to know that those bike lanes were not my idea. I yelled, and they didn't listen. A bunch of old white guys. It is what it is. But it's a long game. So I would say this: if you're going to engage and get involved in your community in some way, find the thing that you want to do that you think you need. That's your long game. But then do something else that's super fun. Plan a block party, for example, with some crazy people that you live near. Sorry, Sunday is our block party.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. But find the fun things too, or the things where you can just show up and like work a shift at a festival or an event. That's a great way to get involved in your community, but it's a low stakes entry, and it's fun. You might get a cool T-shirt, or you might get a free beverage or an ice cream cone or something. But that's an easy way to volunteer for your favorite charity. But think about it this way: like you can't just do the hard work all the time, especially when you know the outcomes aren't going to be out there in the world for 7 to 10 years. And the final message I have for you is, if you do the work, someone's watching, and you're inspiring someone else by showing up to those meetings and those events.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
say you've got to have a debrief. You got to debrief what happened and try to do it with a group of people. Because hopefully you were trying to do your thing with a group of people in the first place. And if you were by yourself, then maybe in your debrief, I suggest saying perhaps more people would help.
Okay.
But then you get some people together, and then you fail again, and then you have another debrief. And, you know, in going through political and civic life, you go through a lot of defeats together, sometimes wins. And what's interesting to me, I've noticed, is that, you know, you ever go through something with people, and not everybody learns the same lessons from the same experience. And then next time you're back at it and somebody says, well, remember last time we did this and then this happened. And then someone says, well, no, we did this and then that happened. And so that's because you maybe didn't have a debrief where you were able to align on what the lessons actually were. And not everyone is going to agree, but if you agree with certain people and disagree with others, then maybe you've learned something. Okay, we see the world a similar way. We should be digging even deeper into our work together in the future. So I think that we got to treat every initiative as a learning opportunity, and having deliberate debriefs is essential in that, and then finding one's friends along the way and figuring out who is really the folks you want to have with you in the foxhole when you're in the middle of the next fight.
Next question. It seems like more money would solve a lot of our issues. Would it?
Man, yes and no, you know, yes and no. And I would love, I can't articulate myself well enough for the no, but yes, for sure. 'Cause it just checks a lot of boxes. It's, you know, Lansing is built, I believe, or thrives on small business, right? We're in a small business right now. The Rio town, there's a, you know, wealth of small businesses here. We rely on them. Strange matter. We visit the Blue Owl. We visit these small businesses every day. And so you need economic development. You need money in a community. But also, and here's a little bit of the no, right, is you have to have people who are going to be responsible with the money. Because if there are not responsible people in our government with the money, then we have a situation on our hands.
You sure do. Yep.
Yes, more money would solve some problems. And I mean, I think we all have a list, right? Like, doesn't everybody have the fictional list that if you actually bought a lottery ticket, how you'd spend the whatever it is today? I don't know. But like, don't we all have the list, right? Well, but the question becomes, there's something about humanity and about the American psyche, because that's the one I know, is that we start like wanting to hoard that, whether it's for ourselves or our family or like our particular interest area. And there's something that happens in our brains that turns people into the, you know, the oligarchs that we all talk about not being our favorite humans. So I think more money does bring more problems, if I can badly paraphrase that. But like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I wish we could. And I've lived in some pretty high net worth communities. I lived in Montgomery County, Maryland, which is like one of the highest per capita income. And yeah, the streets were not paved in gold, just so we're clear. But they also managed to outlaw styrofoam, and it was like the best thing ever. But like, there's some things that happen when you have that much money to spend that are really good and make life better for everyone. But on the other hand, no, it just makes it worse because our systems are that way, and we're hardwired in a lot of ways to hoard.
I'm going to go with obviously, there's huge inequality of wealth. We have 3 billionaires that have as much wealth as the bottom 50% of the entire country, which is pretty outrageous. And I think when we're talking about a municipality like Lansing, it puts civic leaders in a tough spot because the whole system has been set up where, first of all, every state has to compete against every other state to create the most business-friendly, investment-friendly environment. Who is going to give us the most tax breaks? Who's going to give us the most cash incentives? And we're either going to build here in Michigan, or we're going to build in New York, or in Indiana, or Ohio, or Mississippi, or wherever. And then every township and city has to compete against every other township. Who's going to give us the most friendly environment for investment? Who's going to have the fewest regulations and the lowest taxes, and who's going to give us the most cash incentives? And so when there are development opportunities, like a data center, just for example, it puts the civic leaders in a tough position because they say, look, we don't have lots of just investment capital sloshing around here in Lansing. So somebody who wants to come in and says, we're going to invest money into the community is very attractive for people who are in the business of doing economic development, whether that's in government or the Chamber of Commerce or what have you. But it's a really raw deal because the attractiveness of the investment is about the lack of rights that we have to be protected as a community, for our environment to be protected, and then to actually harvest the tax revenue because we've already given it all away as tax breaks. And so I see this all over, not just in Lansing, but all over the district that I'm seeking to represent, and really all over the state, all over the country. You have people who are trying to get after the money because they believe you need investment in order to develop, which is true, but the cards are stacked against it. And so we have to figure out how to change that dynamic. That is a really hard assignment. There's things we could do at the level of federal policy that would help with that, but we also need to ask, what are the resources that we have here that we can invest? What time, talents, and resources can we invest from the bottom up? And treat it as if, the future is ours to build, and we have the ability to determine the future of our own community, and then refuse to accept any barrier, because we can organize the money and the resources and the talents to make things happen.
Yeah.
One more hard question, and then one more fun question. Last hard question. What if you don't agree with your civic leaders?
And this is where I go back to, we have to be civil and meet in the middle. We're not always gonna agree. My wife and I cannot agree on how to run our household. So
that's right.
Wives.
She's usually right most of the time. But still, so we can't expect we just don't all agree. It's just, we can't. I think you said something about this earlier, of everybody agreeing. Maybe it's you, but we can't. That's unrealistic. We all can't agree on, but where we can do is we can agree on the outcome. We all want to see a positive thing happen in our community, and if we can agree, if we can just kind of look at everyone's opinion or everyone's idea and say, let's take this and put it here, let's take this and put it here, and really try to meet in the middle and create a unique balance. I think that is the solution. We have to get over our own egos. We all want what's best for our children. We all want what's best for our community. We all genuinely want what's best for ourselves. So let's get out of our own ways and just meet in the middle and get this thing done.
Let's get it done.
Get her done.
Well, I vehemently disagree with the current occupant of the seat that you are seeking to take over. Please let that happen. And so, so I don't agree with anything that the current person does, says, breathes, whatever. So I call every single day without fail, and I read a Bible verse about immigration. That's the only ethical use for ChatGPT, just in case you were wondering, is to find those forms. But now I have an army of religious leaders giving me the best possible quotes, so it's fantastic. But so that helps. So you make your 5 calls to save democracy every single day of the week, no matter what. But you call them out, but you do it nicely. Or like, hey, I mean, okay, so I'm going to pick on him because he's sitting in the back, but I think Ryan took a bad vote on something or had a bad position. First of all, he explains it in the 17-paragraph Facebook post within an hour of the meeting. So I'll read that first. Give him a minute.
Thank you, Ryan.
Right? But then, like, if I thought he made a boneheaded move, I'd be like, hey, dude, and I'd send him a message and be like, hey, can we talk this out? Like, let's walk our ridiculous dogs and let them, get over their big feelings and go for a walk. But the other thing is that when you've been in this town for a long time, whether that long time to you is 5 months or 5 years or 5 decades, whatever that looks like to you, over time you get to know people. A lot of people we know or you're connected to work for the legislature, for in the House or in the Senate, or they work for one of the many units of government. And so if you really get to know your neighbors and get to build a network of people, you start, first of all, your friends end up being elected officials. It's weird. But then, you can talk to them and brainstorm with them how to address their colleagues who disagree. And you build networks. And again, the one thing that I learned when I was doing some policy work around environmental stuff was you build the team of unlikely allies. If you need to push something through, especially in Lansing, you have to shock them. So I wanted to push through a piece of legislation. I wanted to amend the snow and ice removal ordinance to make it so people would actually clear their sidewalks, so kids weren't walking in the street. I know, right? And there was a lot of opposition. And so, because I'm a jerk and I'm a first negative, that's a debate thing from back in the day, I got up and I said, in the preceding 10 years, every year for the last 10 years, a child has been killed or injured because they had to walk in the street because somebody didn't clear their sidewalk. It says, so if you vote against the snow and ice removal ordinance, you're in favor of killing or harming children. Now, you can't vote against that, although Carol Wood did. But the thing was that I had an army of people standing behind me. I had like the Hells Angels. I had the stroller moms. I had elders from the AARP. We had the Enviros. We had the bike people. It was the island of misfit toys, but we came together and we came up with a tactic and we got it passed. And it was the first and only time Verge Bernero said, "You beat me." And I'm like, yeah, get used to it. And I didn't really, he was gone after that. But my point is that you got to figure out your tactics. And was it worth for me pulling the nuclear option? Yes, it was. But you have to figure out what's your battle plan. And then when it was all over with, we debriefed and decided I probably couldn't pull that trick again. So there you go. That's mine.
Yeah, I love that answer. Build more power, build a bigger coalition, and beat them. I'd say also, try to understand why. Do try to understand why. I think that there's a lot of advocates, and I've been this way in the past, who do not put in the effort to understand why people disagree with them. And you really, really do need, I think, give people the good faith to put yourself in their shoes and really try to understand structurally, emotionally, relationally, why is it that things are the way they are and their position is the way it is. Because if you're coming, again, to go back to the negotiating table, and you don't understand the interests of the person you're sitting across from at the negotiating table, that puts you at a disadvantage. And it's also makes you into a bit of a jerk. Because if you can speak with a clear understanding of your adversary's interests, then you can figure out where there is an overlap in that Venn diagram of what you both want. Or you can assert that there is no overlap in that Venn diagram, and then you have to file to run for office or recruit your friend to run for office and work to unseat them, like I'm doing with Tom Barrett.
Thank you, panelists. And now we are going to transition to the interests of fashion. Dylan, can I get the house lights up, please? So it's going to be Best Dressed Awards, and the way this is going to work is I'm going to give an award for Best Dressed, and it's going to be one of these rings. And you'll walk up. Do we have the music? Not yet. And then each of you will give your Best Dressed Award to an audience member, okay? Okay, I want to say thank you so much, everyone. You look amazing. This Robin Theater is the best dressed in Lansing right now, I guarantee. But I am going to give my award for best dressed to the person who was super excited, showed up first, listened to all the episodes, and made notes on what would catch my eye, and that is Alicia Maida.
Man, there.
You're welcome.
You know, I didn't get a chance to catch and see everybody's outfits and stuff like that, but this young lady here.
Yes. Nicole.
Okay, so for those of you who do know me, I don't normally go out in public unmasked because I have lupus, and so I am masked. So I would like to offer this to my very stylish pal in the back wearing the yellow face mask, who is, yes.
Amazing. Mike.
I think I'll give my best dressed to Gabriel Bieber. His and hers rings. Always stylish.
So a little wrap up now. I want to say thank you so much to my podcast Patreon members. If you would please stand up. Yay! Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
I don't even know what to say.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. This couldn't have happened without you. And the Patreon has wonderful things like bingos for the meetings and also some more gossip from each meeting. So check that out. If you are not a Patreon member, you can do that. So some fun things outside of this podcast is the Lansing Bike and Seek. And if you haven't checked that out, that is very fun. You can go to bikeandseek.org. It is a treasure hunt on your bike and your phone around Lansing. And it's in its 11th year. And it's very fun. And maybe clap if you've done the Bike and Seek so far. For the next two council meetings, June 8th and June 22nd, I will be out of town, but I will still try to do a short recap episode similar to what we did for May 25th. And a huge thank you to Paul Anderson and Julie Powers and William Lawrence. And to Dylan and Gina D for this amazing theater. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for listening, and good night.